Welcome to the FieldPulse podcast, the best place for you to upgrade your trade. We're here to help business owners thrive and discuss all things service business industry. I'm your host, Daniel Myers, and along with my co-host, Ben Reed, we are at our home office here in Dallas, and we are very honored and proud today to welcome our guest, Charlie Felker. Mr. Felker is a distinguished veteran of the 3rd Army Ranger Battalion and the 82nd Airborne Division. Charlie's military honors include 3 Bronze Stars during his deployments in Operation Enduring Freedom. From myself, everyone here at FieldPulse, and everyone that's listening, Mr. Felker, thank you for your service and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. That's a great intro. I love it. Thank you. I'm happy to be here and excited to talk to you both and those listening.
Great. So let's just start off about you, Charlie. What else can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah. So you mentioned my military background. It's a big part of me wanting to be an entrepreneur. Obviously, time spent in the Army is the way I viewed it was very entrepreneurial. And so I got out of the service, went back to school, and then started my own home service company. We were modifying people's homes so they could age in place. Okay, a lot of people in this country are getting older and they're wanting to live in their home later and longer versus going into skilled nursing, and certainly coronavirus, supported that trend. So I started a company back in 2014, 2015, and we did a lot of construction and equipment to help people live at home. You see those infomercials for stair lifts going up and down people's stairs, and so we did a lot of those. We did a lot of construction, door widening type stuff, and had a nice size.
I was going to say you're meeting all of those the ADA requirements for doors. I've done a ton of those.
Absolutely, the 36-inch wide, and can a wheelchair fit in, and a ramp, and there's mechanical equipment, so getting service calls and equipment breaking down. So it was a complex business, but one that was really rewarding because you were keeping people in their home, which ultimately I think 90% of people wanted to be in their home versus going to some institution. So I built that business, had about 12 employees in St. Louis, ended up buying another similar type business in Western New York and Buffalo. And in early 2019, I was approached by a big strategic acquirer in Nashville and ended up selling both those businesses. So this was December-ish 2019, and about that same time, I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do next with my life, and what did I learn about not only being an owner-operator in a home service company, what did I do well and mistakes that I made, and one of the key functions that I felt that could have been more efficient with my business was kind of the customer service, the CSR role, if you will. And I just felt like my business didn't warrant a full-time CSR, and we had a full-time CSR. So when you have a company and then you sell it, you tend to think about, man, how could I have made that company more efficient? And I know we're going to talk about the role of technology. That was certainly one. I didn't fully implement a CRM system, but I also was overpaying a CSR role that wasn't necessarily working 40 hours a week. So my experience was a big impetus to start Free2Grow, which is the company I support and helped co-found about 3 years ago. And our core function is to support the owner operator. In the CSR capacity, answering phones, scheduling leads and estimates, implementing a CRM like a FieldPulse, doing everything that CSR role requires, short of bookkeeping. And so we've had really good success targeting a lot of different types of owner operators in the home service industry that, like me, don't feel like they need a full-time person sitting there 40 hours a week.
All right. Well, real quick, I saw on your website that Nathan Keller, is your co-founder, and it says that y'all have been lifelong friends.
That's true. Yeah, we went to high school together, played football together. Both played football in college, so we're these kind of big meatheady guys that came up with this idea, and it's working. And we have a great, we got great employees. Got 8 full-time employees now, and we've got customers primarily in the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, tree care industries all over the country. And so we're quite proud to really create value for our clients, knowing that they're not, with our team, they're getting the CSR role executed at a high level and not paying for that full-time employee. So they're able to put, a couple $1,000 back in their pocket every month, or put it towards marketing or reinvesting in technology or whatever it is, stuff that's going to get their business to the next level.
Cool. So at a high level, if you could just, what all goes into, oh gosh, we haven't even mentioned your company yet. Your company is Free2Grow. We've been talking about it, but we haven't even said the name yet. So at conception, what I was looking through your website and I see, and I'm obviously talking to Sam and Kyle and Michael about our partnership, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But I guess at the concept of the birth of the business, did y'all have a specific focus and then find something else that was like an accompanying service that went along with that? Or did you have this big umbrella idea from the beginning?
It's a great question. The concept of our business, the CSR, customer service as a service, hasn't changed very much. The types of companies that we're trying to support has. When we first started the company, it was kind of come one, come all. If you're painting houses, if you're cutting lawns, we'll help you. Where now we've really narrowed that focus in. This is why a big part of our partnership with FieldPulse is so great, is we're so focused on HVAC, electrical, plumbing, those types of companies that we're both serving have become a much better fit with us.
Yeah, we noticed a similar trend in our clientele as well, where we're not the best fit for certain types of industries, and there's some other qualifying factors that we do. I think we do a good job of recommending other platforms, right, for different kind of industries, because there are other software services that are more tailored and more focused on that niche. If it's janitorial, or if it's just another kind of industry that we don't necessarily focus on. And I think that is a great, I don't even know the word to say. That's a great point of view to have, is find your niche. And this speaks to our contractors as well. Like, find your niche and focus on it, man, and find what works for you and go after it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, we're investing in kind of office team training with industry training professionals to make our team better. And then when we know what type of clients we have, we can train our team specifically in those industries. And then, for FieldPulse, for example, train our team on CRMs or softwares like FieldPulse and just get really good at that. And there's inherent value when we go try to sell our services to a small HVAC owner operator that, look, not only do we know your industry, we know what types of calls are coming in, we know how to kind of sell your services, upsell your services, we know how to talk to your technicians. On day one, we're going to know FieldPulse much better than you do, right? So I'm like, man, if I'm that person, I have to train somebody, I have to teach them how to use the CRM, I'm going to be out in the field, I don't have time to do that. And then when they do those things sort of, half-baked, it's just going to be half-baked forever. They're never going to find the time to sit down and fully train that CSR to do that stuff. So that's why we're such a good outsourced solution.
Yeah, that's a funny situation that you just mentioned. That's essentially why I'm here. Just so you know, I'm actually a former business owner like yourself, turned employee of FieldPulse. I ran I would say, a fairly successful handyman business for a few years, and I was doing pretty good. And 20 years of being in construction started to take its toll on my hands, my wrists, my shoulder, my back. and so after 20 years of experience, as I like to say, I got to talking with Gabe, our CEO, and that's why I'm here, is to be that in-house. I don't want to call myself an expert, but that in-house experienced guy that can start answering some of those more technical, difficult questions when they come across, right, through our customer service team or through our sales team, and we get a lot of very specific questions on what can your software do for me, and what about this situation, and what about this situation. I actually worked with one of our sales guys, I think it was on Friday, worked through a very niche a little feature that we didn't have. And we sat down, me and the sales guy, we sat down and we talked about it, and we thought, okay, what's the premise of what he's trying to do here? And we thought, okay, we can definitely get this built, right? We can develop that pretty quickly. But in the meantime, what can we do? Okay, yeah, we got this workaround. We've got this whole thing we can do here. So doing that, I had the opportunity to talk to him and tell him, okay, just so you know, this is how he's running his business, and this is what this means. The fact that real quick, he wanted to be able to, he's a lawn care business, and he wanted to be able to schedule jobs without necessarily putting a time on it. And he started with, sales guys started with a question of why, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you want to do that? And I explained to him, when you're a high volume, when you got 30 yards to mow in a day, you're not going to schedule 15-minute increments, 12-minute increments, 17-minute increments. That doesn't make sense. Nor are you even telling your customer when exactly you're going to be there, right? Homeowners and property managers know that the trash gets taken out on a certain day, and it's kind of ubiquitous that the lawn guy comes on such and such day. And so having me in-house now to answer those questions and put some real world context to them, I think that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a similar goal. It sounds like a similar goal and kind of a similar premise to what you're trying to do is build some of that in-house knowledge and familiarity with, especially in the MEP world, of what a condenser coil is or what a capacitor is, and trying to teach your team of what goes into that and what that really means in the real world.
Yeah, you nailed it. So we're going to have industry verticals, for lack of a better term, where we're going to have dedicated personnel, 3 to 5 people per HVAC, electrical, plumbing, that are trained on that industry, trained on, your software, the calls, the service packet, all that kind of stuff that, when we talk to clients, I know that's going to be valuable. It is valuable. A good example is Sola Electric. It's a FieldPulse client. That's how we got introduced to FieldPulse. And that was when we started looking at partnering with FieldPulse, that was a big part of it. And it's kind of dovetailing on your story, was the very detailed focus on the operator and the questions they had and how the software could support them. And it's not, because we see a lot of different softwares, and it's not like that with everybody. And it certainly is with you guys. And that's a big differentiator. Not to name names, but some of the big gorilla CRMs out there don't do that. And, the customer service component is lacking. And it's a big kudos to you and your team for that. And it was kind of a no-brainer when we saw, okay, these guys are like you, operator focused, and trying to come up with solutions that are so focused on the people doing the actual work.
Yeah, and that's I think something that is a constant challenge. You alluded to it before, you and I both have been there. We're a small business owner. We maybe have 2 or 3, 4, up to, we call ourselves the 2 to 20 man sweet spot. And so if you're running that kind of an operation, smaller on the smaller end of that scale, you don't have the time. Now you might have an availability, like I'm just going to throw a scenario out there, like 1 day a week that you can really dedicate to training somebody and you might be able to have the time in your day to spend 15, 20 minutes a couple times a day type thing, maybe, if you're not slam busy, if it's a busy season, all that goes out the window. But to be able, the time investment, let alone the financial investment that it takes, but the time investment that it takes, I think that is in so many facets of running a small business, people underestimate and they don't really account for the time that it takes to really, because once you get started on a topic, then that entrepreneurial spirit kicks in, and entrepreneurial spirit equals ADD in some circles. And so you squirrel, you jump in from topic to topic, and in your mind, right, it creates this beautiful web of how everything is intertwined and interconnected. And then you look back and the person you're training is what?
What's he talking about? Yeah. I think a lot of entrepreneurs think in a perfect world, I'm going to train this person and they're going to be with me for life. And that's just probably not going to happen. Okay. Especially this day and age, people want to work remote. They want this and that. And the reality is that they're probably not going to be with you. Okay. So then you're going to find yourself retraining. And then what's your energy level? What's your capacity? I've heard it costs $14,000 net to hire, train, get that person fully functional. Okay. So if you go through 2 or 3 people a year, let's call it 2 or 3 people over a span of 5 years. Well, that's a lot of cash going out the door, and a lot of your time and energy that isn't necessarily focused on getting your business from 1 to 2 million, or, increasing your headcount smartly, or spending money on a better marketing campaign or better software, whatever. So that's kind of our, mission, is to say, look, you're going to have a dedicated team of 3 to 5 people that are going to be covering your account. Are we going to be able to get you coffee or print stuff off for you? No, we're not. But when it comes to answering phones, we're not running errands. I will say what we've learned, and we've gotten very kind of ruthless, for lack of a better word, on presenting our value. Okay, here's what we booked for you today. Here's how many calls we took. Here's calls we missed. Here's what we've booked. As far as dollars, owner operators are tougher on us than they are on their full-time person. Okay, I've noticed. If an owner sent their office manager out for coffee and they missed 10 calls, well, I sent him out or sent her out, and that was kind of my directive, and I'll live with that. But if we miss a call, it's where are you guys? What are you doing? Okay, we're here. We got it. We called him back. So that's where technology is a big part of it, because they can see the calls, the after call work. Okay, we got in a FieldPulse that yes, they're updating the customer information. Yes, the quote got out. They're following up on the to-dos, all that stuff. So it's a win-win when technology is being implemented.
So since I haven't looked at your back end, right, or your dashboard that your employees use, can you walk us through? You just touched on it there, all the back end functions that y'all do. Can you give me an overview of what all y'all do exactly? What does your dashboard look like that your employees are looking at? What all kinds of fields, and is it notes? Is it tags? Is it do y'all record the phone calls? What because these are questions that people are going to have, right?
Yeah. So if we're just sticking with the phone. So our kind of core service offering, certainly answering the phones on the inbound and outbound side. So inbound's pretty obvious, but the outbound side, let's say that our client has a list of people they want us to follow up with for, spring maintenance package or whatever it is. We can take a list and dedicate an hour or two every afternoon and make those outbound calls. So that's a big differentiator for us versus a call center, which is just going to take your name and, okay, Billy's going to call you back, and maybe they do that. So inbound, outbound calls, CRM management's a big portion of it. Taking that call, or the email, whatever the communication is, and making sure that information is getting populated into FieldPulse or whatever CRM the customer is using. Lead tracking, lead follow-up, reputation management, we certainly do. We're big proponents of Slack as far as communicating, so we can support technicians in the field. If a technician's late, hey, we call the customer, I'm 10 minutes late. We can certainly schedule. We have access to their calendars. Certainly a feature on FieldPulse. We can get stuff scheduled, updated throughout the day. But let's just stick with the phone. So we set call disposition reports. Our what we call growth partners, our employees, after they're done with each call, have to set a disposition. Whether it was, we booked a lead, or it was a complaint, or they wanted to talk to the owner, or they're responding to a piece of marketing collateral. We can identify as many disposition reports as the owner wants to see. Okay, it's typically between 10 to 15, and our growth partners have to input that after every call. So we're looking at number of calls, missed calls, what was the after work kind of report. Our clients love seeing booked estimates. I mean that's a direct path to revenue. So those are kind of the big ones. We have a dashboard that we can assign tasks. We can say, look, okay, you're going to make these outbound calls today. There's a myriad of metrics that we're constantly looking at. But at the end of the day, it's a very concierge, offering for these select industries within home service.
Okay, so first question that comes to mind when you use the term outbound, are y'all making outbound like cold calling sales calls?
We won't do if we have a list that our client has provided us, we can certainly do that. We're not going to be looking for, we don't do like lead generation per se, right? Or, hey, I want to call on a bunch of realtors. Okay, well, do you have the list? Do you have the numbers? Then we can certainly look at that, but we wouldn't proprietarily develop a list of people. That would have to be cultivated by a client.
I got you. Okay. And do you have the ability, and I would say in the confidence, say in a scenario that I was listening to a YouTube video the other day, and there's a channel that I was watching, and there's a bunch of real top high achievers, like in the multi-million-dollar salesmen of in the HVAC industry. And they mentioned a couple of times the same scenario where somebody needs to think about it. They hand somebody a $15,000 or $17,000 estimate to replace a system, and the client needs to swallow that and process that and think about that maybe overnight, over the weekend type thing. Would you have the confidence, and is this something that you offer where, say that estimate has been provided to the client and they want the salesman was on site and maybe said, my team is going to follow up with you on Monday. Is that a specific scenario, something that y'all do where y'all could, okay, say where y'all could take that estimate or that proposal and actually turn that into a one opportunity?
We could, yeah. And it depends on the client, obviously, and their sales staff and procedures. But we do get a lot of that where a sales person will say, hey, Free2Grow, can you nudge this person or call them and see if they got it? If they have questions, okay, we got them on the line. Okay, the salesperson's happy to talk to you. Patch them through directly. There's a variety of things, but yeah.
Okay, and I'm just thinking of a scenario where, God forbid you want to take a vacation, or you might have, a doctor's appointment on Monday and reach out to Free2Grow and say, hey, I over the weekend I had something come up and I did this on Friday. I told them I'll call them back on Monday. Can you guys please call them for me and let me know how it goes?
That's happening all day, every day. We're going to develop a relationship with our clients. It takes time, but there's going to be some intimacy and they're going to get to know the same 3 to 4 people that are working their accounts on a first name basis. What are you guys doing for Christmas? How's your kid doing, type of thing. And that, again, is very different than a call center, which could be any one of 50 agents.
Yes, you just said it. I was going to say that is a huge differentiator because it's one of these things I think that's kind of in the ether and in the service industry in general is, and I don't know if it's okay. I say it's in the ether because it's not always really brought up, right? It's not always front and center, but it's something that hangs around in the background of when you're in the service industry, the service business industry like this, you are in the people business. You're in the relationship business, and for whatever reason, some people, some business owners, some techs, some salesmen even are really bad at that. And it's so important though. And when you have the opportunity and the ability to start creating relationships, it's just like any other relationship, right? You can start to count on the reliability because you again, it's just like any other relationship, right? You build the credibility, you build the reputation, and then you start to set expectations. And then the expectations can be met, and they can be met repeatedly, right? And that when me or anyone out there who's a business owner who knows that I can take this opportunity that I have, or this task rather, that's a better word, this task that I have to do. And, like I was saying before, man, I want to go to my kid's volleyball game. I want to, go do something that's not work, or maybe I have a flat tire or an emergency or something I need to handle. And to have the relationship in place and the expectation has already been set that once I call Free2Grow and I tell them what I need done, or I message them, even I don't have to call them, but I can message them, I can email them, and it gets done, then the weight of, like you said, of knowing that it's done, and knowing that it's done correctly in a timely manner, and that they're going to say the right things, and that they have my best interest at heart. That's when you start to realize, and I remember specifically having this moment in one of my past businesses, was being able to rely on other people and things getting done. And you start to get that feeling of momentum, and it becomes a kind of a moment, a revelation of, oh, this whole business thing is working, right? This is all right. This is cool. It's a good feeling.
I've had that feeling, and it feels great. I think probably one of the biggest value adds for us is the team component, because people that go out and hire a full-time CSR, and sometimes it's great. Don't get me wrong, but people get sick, they go on vacation, they decide not to show up, they no-show you, and then congratulations, now owner operator, now you're back doing everything again. And you can feel like you just explained one day on a Thursday, and then Friday that person doesn't show up, and you're like, oh my God, maybe I celebrated too quickly here. And so it's nice to have that team. You can sleep better at night.
Yeah. So sleeping better at night, are y'all available 24/7, or is it strict business hours? What do y'all operate there?
It's a great question. We're not. Right now, we're kind of that 8 to 5. We'll cover all the zip codes. We're working at 24/7. We probably will introduce that in 2023. It's just we've hit most of our clients. Obviously, things start to slow down. And we haven't gotten high enough, I think, on the food chain. Our average clients are in that 1 to 2 million, 1 to 3 million revenue range. And typically, when the sun goes down, their call volume is probably falling off precipitously as well. So if we continue to get bigger and bigger clients, we'll probably look at that. But right now, the demand is such that that 8-hour window is scratching the itch for our clients. Yeah.
Great. And what about weekends?
We don't do weekends either, but we will. Yeah. Yeah, good questions.
All right. Well, that's good to know what's coming. No problem. So with with our partnership, right, of FieldPulse and Free2Grow, what was your thought? What was your initial thought, right? Because that entrepreneurial spirit took over, and when you started thinking about the partnership, what kind of thoughts ran through your head when you came across FieldPulse and what we were doing and how it aligned with your business? And do you have thoughts, plans, ideas for things that don't exist yet? Do you have, what kind of where do you want to take this? Where do you want it to go?
Well, the partnership was obvious. We had always felt like a partnership with a, top tier CRM software would be mutually beneficial. Okay. Because you get owner operators like me and you who, yes, okay, they sign on with a software and everybody's happy, but then it's time to implement it. And then it's time to spend hours each day within that CRM, updating customer information, sending out quotes, completing checklists, and stuff, as you know, starts to fall off. And then people get annoyed. They're like, oh, I got this recurring subscription every month, and I'm using 10% of this software, and I'm annoyed. I that was me, right? So we're like, you know what? I can understand why a CRM would want to partner with us because we're doing that 8 hours a day. We're doing CRM implementation. We got a team of 8 people just staring at, your dedicated CRM system. Call comes in, email lead comes in, boom, we're right there. We're doing it. And you're out in the field selling or doing whatever. So that implementation, happy customer, happy CRM, it's a full circle. Everybody's happy. So that was a no-brainer. And, we had just timed it up well with Sola. Our client was onboarding with us. They were looking at you, and then we reached out to FieldPulse. And I got to tell you, I was so impressed with the responsiveness, the focus on the customer, the time it took during onboarding. We felt like we were aligned because we're a slow to onboard company. If a client calls and says, I want Free2Grow to start Thursday morning, tomorrow morning, whatever, we would probably say no, okay? Because we've got bitten by that before, where this client thinks we're just going to be a Band-Aid and we're just going to answer the phone for them and they're going to fire us in 30 days when they hire their nephew or whatever, okay? So we'll say, you know what, we're going to take 3 weeks and we're going to really slow roll this and get to know you and figure out what works. And I felt like that was the way it was with FieldPulse. It was very concerted, very thoughtful with Sola, and we've had other interactions with a handful of other CRMs, and it was like complete opposite. There was no customer service. It was just like, you want it or not? Okay, you don't. Next. And so we were just pleasantly surprised. And it's nice to get that from an entrepreneur's perspective.
Yeah. Trust me, when I was actually using FieldPulse when I was a customer, and it's my first day walking into the office here was very funny because I saw right in person Yessie, huge shout out to Yessie and Lauren on our CS team. I used to talk to them all the time, asking questions, making suggestions, and I had a pretty steady relationship, especially with Yessie, calling or texting in through the app and asking questions, and it was funny once I started in the morning and then by lunchtime, and to it's like I was almost like I peeled back the curtain, and to see her just doing her job, and to see all the calls that she was on, and then later that day it struck me, oh, she does this all day long and over and over and just, oh man, and then it kind of came full circle back, right, to back when I was a customer, and to think that I called in or I chatted in through the app, I asked a question and she got back to me, or if it was a suggestion, let's say I was a guy making a lot of suggestions on, little changes, right? Little tweaks, and hey, this would be easier here and maybe some less clicks here type thing. And then to get on the video calls with Lauren and again, and then to see Lauren do that over and over and over. I just had no idea of the scale, right, of the volume at which they operate. And now being in the office with them every day, it just blows my mind how many people they talk to. And I wanted to relay that to your business of just, that's impressive. That's really impressive for a person to be able, right, to be able to have the relationship with XYZ AC company and then be able to switch on a dime and answer a plumbing call, right? And know that plumbing owner, right? And then that call's over and boom, another plumbing company, right? And just that's really impressive to me.
Yeah, I think the FieldPulse Free2Grow, I think the type of customer, type of industry, there was so much alignment that became pretty obvious that it was just a no-brainer for both, I think. I hope.
Yeah. Well, here's to figuring it out, man, as we go. Full disclosure to all of our listeners, we just signed the partnership deal last month, I think. Yeah. So it's a brand new deal, and we're getting it rolled out, and we're super excited about it. Talking with Sam and the partnership team. I had heard about it. It was something in our Slack, and that we were finalizing the deal, and we have so much going on around here. And this morning, I got in their ear and I said, okay, walk me through this, because on the periphery, I know what this is. I heard about your company, I heard about the partnership, but it's not my department, so I'm not so involved like they are, obviously. And so I got in their ear and just said, hey, tell me what I need to know. And tell me where we are, and tell me exactly what's going on here. And Sam laid some details out for me, and then okay, all right, cool. I got a good base to go off of, and then going to your website and looking up everything that I could find on your company, and all right, okay, and because everybody makes I made the assumption about a call center. And then looking through and seeing your employees listed on your website, like, oh, this is not just a call center. This is kind of a next level offering here. And that's where I assumed, and you just validated that it's not a call center. It's a personal relationship business.
Yeah, you asked me where we want to go with this, and you're right. It's a personal relationship business. It's going to be very industry driven with our team. We're going to have an HVAC team. We're going to have electrical, plumbing, pre-care. We do support a couple franchises, so we'll probably segment that off. But it's going to be a very, client-focused team that's going to know the individual clients, their product offering, service area. They're going to know their CRM, how they want us talking to their customers, scripting. All that stuff is going to be so focused on them. I hate the call center analogy for obvious reasons, but we do get that a lot, and we do explain to people a lot that we're not a call center. What we are I like the term customer service as a service. You're going to get a small group of people that are going to be 8 hours a day in your account, answering the phones and looking at your email and looking at your CRM, following up with customers, communicating with your technicians on Slack, all those things. We're not going to run your payroll. Certainly, we're not going to be touching your QuickBooks, but that kind of customer service component, we're going to dominate for you, because I'm pretty confident you didn't start your plumbing business or your HVAC business to be managing, training, hiring, firing, repeating on the customer service side. I'm pretty sure. That's what we do. Yeah.
Generally not. I was thinking while you were talking right there was that could almost be your tagline. If somebody calls you, you pick up the phone. Hi, thanks for calling Free2Grow. We're not a call center. How can I help you?
We're not a call center. And I have to explain that a lot. And, typically pricing comes up. I know a lot of call centers are kind of like a price per minute or something. We're a set monthly fee that's probably half of what you're going to spend on a full-time person. And it's we don't go up and down every month. It is what it is. And I think that drives people more on their relationships. I don't want to be like a law firm where I'm billing you every minute, or it just seemed too transactional for us. So it's a set fee, and we're going to build a relationship.
That's really important for business owners to consider is the hidden costs of certain things, right? And there's always, I say there's not always, but a lot of time. Okay, let me start over. That's what people are afraid of, are the hidden costs and the gotchas and the contract type thing. And so for you and for us too, right? We have a flat rate. We are a fixed cost in your business, and to have as many fixed costs as possible. Purely from a financial standpoint, it makes everything so much easier. Oh my goodness. It makes your bookkeeping easier. It makes your planning easier. You're forecasting into the future, all these things, as many fixed costs as you can possibly get, the better.
Yeah. Totally agree.
All right. Well, where can people find you on the interwebs, on the internets?
It's a great. So we do have a good website, free2grow.com.
Okay.
We're getting our Facebook going. We're getting LinkedIn, Instagram. We just hired a marketing firm, so we've been pretty sluggish, so to speak, on the social media side. So you'll be seeing us more on that front. But go to our website. I'm sure you guys will probably publish something. Feel free to reach out. You can publish my email. I'll get back to anybody. But our website will give you a good idea of, service offerings, et cetera. Really, at the end of the day, we're looking for, owner-operators that want to grow, feel like they're just so constrained, they're missing calls, they're constantly trying to keep up with things, and we're a really good, cost-effective, long-term solution for people like that.
That sounds great. And before I let you go, I got to ask, if you and your partner have been friends for so long, what is a story from high school or right after high school that is a fond memory for you two?
I've got a lot of fond memories of Nathan. We won state football, the state championship our senior year. Going back to the high school days, that was certainly, we had a horrible junior year, and then we came back and never lost a game senior year. We were both captains. And so that sticks out to me. Okay.
Kind of a co-leadership there.
Co-leadership in full circle. We're back. Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Was it a offense defense co-leadership, or were both of y'all on offense? What was that?
We went to small high school. Everybody played both ways.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were, you throw an interception, you just turn around and,
yeah. You literally just about face on the field. And all right, well, that's great. So anyone else out there listening, we are always looking for new partnerships like Free2Grow. If it's something you're interested in with FieldPulse, you can reach out to us at fieldpulse.com/partners with an S. And to our general audience out there, we are trying our best to encourage interaction, questions, comments, feedback, anything that you guys want to hear about, any questions you have for myself, any questions you have for Charlie, Ben, who does our marketing, really anything and everything, guys. You can reach us at any time through an email at podcast, podcast, at fieldpulse.com. With any questions, comments, really anything, guys. You can also go to our website, fieldpulse.com. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a little chat bubble that will pop up. I'm on there. If you want to call, if you want to get on our website and ask me a question in real time, I'm in the office Monday through Friday. Feel free to reach out, guys. And again, Free2Grow, man, you guys, I think y'all are on a good path here. I think y'all got something happening. Let's go ahead and think about next quarter. Let's follow up here in a few months, and let's make this a regular thing, man, and see if we can find a way to track how our partnership's doing, and let's start getting some numbers together on, are we giving each other business? Are we trading clients here? What's going on? What's our path look like?
It's got to be mutually successful. I think it will. Mutual beneficial.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up today's show. Thank you, Ben, for joining me, even though you weren't too involved today, but that's all right. And a big thanks again to Charlie, and a huge thank you for your service again. And as always, guys, keep using FieldPulse. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.